In the 2nd century AD, there was a heated argument between the bishops of Rome and the bishops of Ephesus. According to the church historian Eusebius, the bishops of Ephesus argued that they had received direct instruction by the aged apostle John of when to keep the Paschal observance. The bishops of Rome, however, rejected this, citing superior authority and an older tradition that they were bound to keep. This controversy became known as the Quartodeciman Controversy, and it was only resolved in Rome's eyes in 325 AD at the Council of Nicaea, when they declared the position of the bishops of Ephesus as heretical. The Roman Emperor Constantine, in support of his new de facto state religion, the Universal Roman Church, forbade the keeping of the Paschal observance on the 14th of the moon. With their Quartodeciman belief outlawed, the followers of the bishops of Ephesus were driven underground. Many fled to the extremities of the Roman Empire, whose grip on power was weakening. The Quartodecimans, popularly mocked as April Fools, had to find a place where they could freely practice their beliefs. It was in this context that a man named Patrick, the grandson of a married Christian priest, the son of a married deacon, came to Ireland, a land outside of Rome's reach, to preach the gospel to a people immersed in paganism. There is precious little written material, objective material, that survives from the early medieval period for the Irish and British churches. What does survive are the partisan attacks of the Romani against their Quartodeciman adversaries. And one of the strongest ones that was written in the early 600s by the Romani Bishop Cumin says, "What more evil can we say that Mother Church, that Rome errs, that the world errs, that only the British and the Irish know what is right," when talking of this Quartodeciman, the practice. There are a few other comments that are really quite good, and it really shows you the flavor of this particular time. Several other. In the book by Heron and Brown, they quote several of the other people. They quote one from the Romani writer Aldham, who was writing Geraint, the king of Devon and Cornwall, and his bishops in the 670s, to urge them to, quote, enter into the unity with the Catholic Church in matters of the common Easter, and he directly implied that the British clergy were all Quartodecimans. Another writing that was written, it was cited by Bede, who was one of the prime sources that still survives in his ecclesiastical history, and he quoted a letter that was written in 638 AD from the Pope-elect John, who was writing to the Northern Irish bishops and abbots. He said, quote, "We discovered that certain men in your kingdom were attempting to receive a new heresy out of an old one, and befogged with mental blindness, to reject our Easter, in which Christ was sacrificed for us, contending with the Hebrews that it should be celebrated on the 14th day of the moon. You cannot be unaware that this execrable heresy has been condemned, and not only has it been abolished for some 200 years, but is daily condemned by us and buried beneath our perpetual ban." Well, the Pope-elect John was really making the accusation that the Quartodeciman practice was rampant in this area. It is a tradition of victors to rewrite history as it pleases them. What happened here in the Hill of Slain in 433 AD was just the beginning of a long conflict and a debate that continued on and rippled on for 200 years that the Romani were forced to confront. But even in that, after all this time, it is evident that sometimes inconvenient truths are extremely difficult to expunge from the annals of history.